Yo, what is up guys, it's Pedro here. In today's video, we'll be talking about the report that the Washington Commanders have had significant trading interest in 49ers wide receiver Deebo Samuel and how momentum is building for a possible trade to happen with the Washington Commanders and the 49ers. If you guys are new, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button and that notification bell as well. Let's try to get to 16,000 subscribers by the draft. I know we can do it. It's about 2 months away, so we just need to around 500 a month. No BS, let's get right into it. And comment down below what you would give up for Deebo, or if you even want Deebo Samuel. So we knew the connections would be there, and sorry if my voice is a little bit weird, if I look weird. I'm not feeling great right now, a little sick, but hopefully that passes by very soon. But let's get back right into the video. So we knew this is a possibility because, the Commanders do need another receiver, and, Deebo Samuel's on the market. So that already in itself makes it a possibility. And then you add in the 49ers and Adam Peters connection. Obviously, he was an assistant GM. I believe that was his role in San Francisco for a while. You got Anthony Lynn as well, who was the running backs coach in San Francisco for a year while Deebo was there. And you might think, oh, that doesn't really matter. Well, Deebo is a hybrid player. He is more of a receiver than a running back, but he does, take carries, usually a couple of games. So definitely was in the meeting rooms, with Anthony Lynn. So has a connection there. So they have multiple connections there for sure. And we're always thinking it's a possibility. Now, Jordan Schultz, who is a reliable reporter, he said Commanders have had significant trading interest. Also, the Texans are in the mix as well, but Washington's believed to be the most aggressive amongst all the teams, with the Houston Texans as well, who have a connection. The Texans have a connection because of D'Amico Ryans, who was in San Francisco as well. There's some other teams in the mix as well. Steelers and Broncos have checked in, but Houston and Washington are believed to be the most aggressive. So, hey, if you're a Deebo fan, that's great. If you're not, then maybe not. But Deebo to Washington, it does make sense. It depends on the trade compensation and how much the 49ers would be willing to pay of his contract would be, the deciding factor for me. Obviously, I'm not making the decision, but would be the deciding factor for me in terms of if I would like to make a trade or not. Sorry, I was just looking outside, see if my roommate was going, or if he just got here. Besides the point, what's it called? That is definitely something to consider, because if the 49ers can pay $5, $6, $7 million of his contract this year just for, to be able to get some draft compensation out of him, that would be something that is, worth looking into. We'll get into his contract in a second here, but overall, his stats, they're a little underwhelming compared to like the name of the player. You would think he would have, some 1,000-yard seasons. He only has one. And obviously that was a huge year. 1,400 yards, 6 touchdowns, 8.2 yards a reception. Rushing, he also had, I'm trying to see, that year he had 1,770 yards from scrimmage, but he had 59 carries for 365 yards and 8 touchdowns. So had 14 touchdowns and almost 1,800 yards from scrimmage that year. Was absolutely amazing. But after that, the next year dealt with some injuries, but also just didn't play as well. 13 games, and he only had 632 yards, 2 touchdowns. I'm sure he was dealing with injuries in each of these seasons, but, a lot of these players are, and also that's part of it. If you're always, if you're constantly injured, then I don't know. Is that someone you want to trade for? 2023, though, had a better year. 15 games, 892 yards. So is there almost 900 yards, 7 touchdowns. Also had, I'm trying to look at the rushing here, 225 rushing yards and 5 touchdowns. So had 12 total touchdowns and had, over 1,000 yards from scrimmage. So had a good year in 2023 for sure. I'm trying to look. Let's see the yards per game. So 60 in 2023, 88 in 2021, and then had a couple other good seasons. This past year was bad, though. It really was. You watch the games. He wasn't that good. He also, should have been the number one option if he was playing well, but because Ayuk was out, and then Juwan Jennings ended up being the number one option because Samuel wasn't stepping up. He was dropping passes, looked a little bit slower, looked like he gained some weight. So the thing is, Deebo seems like a guy that would be super motivated and wants to show people he's still that guy. So if he does get traded to the Commanders, maybe he has a little bit of an extra chip on his shoulder. Maybe he is trying to show the league he's still that guy. So that is something to consider as well with Deebo Samuel. And if you're only giving up a 5th round pick or whatever, they have 3 7ths. So I would much rather give up some of that. I don't know what the value with Deebo is right now. I know it's not a day 1 or day 2 pick. And if it is somehow a day 2 pick, then no way I would trade for Deebo Samuel because he's an aging player. His pay is a little bit more than what he's worth. And I would say, the production hasn't been there. And the injury issues are also a big deal. I mean, he's barely had full seasons. I mean, even this year, the 2024 season, he was dealing with injuries and, didn't play the full season, but was basically in there the whole year. But, I wouldn't give up much for him. I would definitely give up a 7th round pick, even if they don't really pay for much of the contract, because there is a possibility he does get cut. At this point, I don't see that because there are multiple teams interested in a trade. So maybe you give up a 7th and a future pick. I don't know. Or a 7th and a player. Just, the Commanders don't have a lot of mid-round picks this year, like 4th to 6th round picks. So that's just Commanders 2025 draft picks. It just, because of some of the trades they made, it's not the best in terms of their draft capital in the middle rounds. I'm trying to see where it is. Let's see. We'll go here, but sorry about that. But they have a 1st round pick, they have a 2nd round pick, they have a 3rd round pick, but they don't have a 4th round pick. They don't have a 6th round pick. So do I want to trade a 5th round pick for Deebo? And then you would just have a 1st, a 2nd, a 3rd, and then 3 7ths. I don't really love that. So if you can trade, let's say you trade John Allen, and you get anywhere from a 4th to a 6th, then that kind of gives you a little bit more flexibility to use one of those picks. And in that case, I would be more open to giving up that 5th or maybe 4th round pick that you get from the John Allen trade, or just that 5th round pick that they have in general. But again, like I said, it's just you're going to be having a huge gap in where you pick. Maybe you give up 2 7th round picks or something. I don't know. But it's just not something I'm super open to, just completely gutting the middle of your draft. Contract-wise, this is also why, it's not super appealing, is his cap hit is $15 million. $16 million in 2025. Also a free agent going into 2026. At first I looked at the cap hit, but that's just void deals. So he's an unrestricted free agent after this year. So that is another thing to watch out for. So if the 49ers can pay for some of it, and then maybe you can, restructure, but at that point just let the contract play out. And if he plays well, you can extend him. But that's kind of the situation right there, the contract situation. I just don't think he's worth $16 million for like I said, an aging number 2, has some injury issues. I mean, from what I've heard from 49ers, reporters, I listened to a 49ers reporter on the Comment podcast. He's a good locker room guy, or at least a lot of people in the locker room like him. But I mean, everyone's seen the video with the kicker, and just things he says in the media sometimes. So I don't know if he is that good of a locker room guy and if he fits what Washington's building. But Adam Peters, if I trust anyone to make that decision, it's Adam Peters, because he was in San Francisco. He dealt with him on a week-to-week basis, maybe even day-to-day. Probably not, but week-to-week basis. And then also, just knows a lot of people in San Fran that, are obviously, they're not going to lie to him. They'll be upfront with him and, tell him the truth about the situation. So if he, feels like he can get the best out of Deebo, I think he will. And, the Commanders can do that. So whatever happens here, even if I'm not the biggest Deebo fan and I'm not like, I don't want to give up a lot for him, I'm going to trust it if they make the move. Also, Deebo, it does seem like he's a good fit for this offense. He's a yak guy. And, you know, the screen plays they ran, which sometimes worked. But, you know, last year was Zacchaeus, Diami and stuff. It'll work way better with Deebo Samuel. I do think the offense fits Deebo Samuel. You can also use him as a runner as well, which can solve a little bit of your running back problem, but not a lot. And maybe they just don't want to use him as a running back. Like maybe they'll use him a little bit, but they don't want to give him, let's look at the carry numbers. I mean, they don't want to give him 40 carries a season, which is a lot. I mean, 60, 42, 37, 42. Maybe they're, you know, good with just a carry or two a game, which, you know, would lead to like 32, or I guess 30, yeah, around 30, you know, carries a game if it's like one or two a game, or not 30 a game, 30-ish a season if they give them 1 to 2 a game. So that's something to consider as well, but we'll talk about that if it actually happens in a couple weeks. So that's the video for today. Just Deebo Samuel type of video. Was thinking about doing another video about a draft pick that, you know, he's an elite guy who wants to play for Washington. I will talk about that later. If you guys did stay till the end, and this is a hint for the next video, go ahead and comment down below John Riggins. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace.